Hello friends, welcome to what I will call the bigger picture for XRP holders. I will start by saying the whole point of this is to get a good understanding of what's actually happening, where we are with the investment, to try and get a little bit of insight into when things might unfold and basically go off of this information to formulate your personal plan and your strategy for investing in this stuff, because this kind of information could help you to be more calculated, patient, and to essentially just do the right thing. And hopefully some of this will be very interesting. So I'll start with the cycle, where we are in the cycle. So I'll show you the Bitcoin cycle and how XRP actually follows it. So what you see on your screen here is the Bitcoin chart, BTC, and every 4 years is a whole cycle for Bitcoin. So from pink bar here to pink bar here, that's 3 years, and as you can see, price rises and it peaks exactly on 3 years, then it drops, and the white bars are a year after. So you've got 3 years, then this is the 4th year, that's the end of the cycle, the beginning of the new cycle. So as you can see here, price peaks. It was at a low of around about $255 in 2014, and it was at a high of 19,000, nearly 20k, 3 years later in 2017, and that was an exact peak. And then it dropped down exactly a year later. It dropped down to 3 grand. And then exactly 3 years on from there, it peaked at nearly 70 grand. And then exactly a year after that, it dropped and put in a complete low at around 15 grand. And then exactly 3 years after that, it put in an exact high at 100 and, what was it, 126 or so in October. Something like that. Oh, yeah, 125, 126k. So I say that to say this: where are we now? We are exactly following that cycle. So that instantly removes a lot of ambiguity and fluff. You could spend the entire year guessing, thinking, okay, it's going to turn around now, it's going to turn around now. The reality of it is, if it follows this cycle, the bottom will be placed in October. So it's going down until October. So just in that sense, you can see the right thing to do for crypto in general. And I'll show you XRP as well, how it follows it. Not to the exact date like Bitcoin, but it does follow it. So from low to high, there we go. It was actually a 110,000 percent pump for XRP, from lows of 0.003 cents to $3.30 in 2017, 2018. But either way, we place a peak in near on 3 years, and then drop for a year, place a high near on 3 years, drop for a year, place a high. So following also the same thing as Bitcoin, almost exactly. There's another interesting cycle with XRP, is the 1,618 days. So without going too much into it, the 1618 is the golden ratio in the Fibonacci sequences. So it's a naturally resonant number in markets. So you can look into that more yourself if you want. This isn't a trading video. But every 1,618 days has marked a significant price event for XRP. So from inception, the first 1,618 days placed in a high of this bull market, and then the exact amount of time later placed in the low of the next bull market. The next milestone on that cycle is just after almost at the same time as the end of this current down cycle of the 4-year cycle. So something interesting will happen from there. And I'll quickly also show you the logarithmic chart for XRP, which is showing you a bit more of the bigger picture, basically. So if you look here, from the low in 2017, which is pretty much an all-time low almost, if not, price moved 110,000%. So it went from 0.003 cents to $3.31. Now, if price drops to, in this cycle, you can see it here clear as day, in this down cycle, if price drops to 90 cents, if we was to repeat the same or similar move to what happened in 2018, from 90 cents, price would be at over $1,000. So it's happened before. When it happened before, there was obviously less liquidity, but arguably there was it's still a drop in the ocean in terms of the amount of liquidity that XRP could be dealing with. And let me tell you, this coin, I'm starting to believe, more and more relies on a global financial crisis. Not only that, but also an energy crisis and an energy lockdowns and a real serious need for liquidity. I think that's what they're positioned for. But what I will also show you is oil, how oil is the most important thing. We've already had the catalyst for a global financial crisis since the start of the Iran and US war. We shot up since the middle of February. It was the end of February, wasn't it? The war started at the end of February. Oil's gone up 30-odd%. And the issue with that is Japan, as a country, they've lent out money at 0 to almost 0% interest rates for 30 years to the rest of the world. Now, the rest of the world are going to have to pay back that debt to Japan at a much higher interest rate because Japan relies heavily on oil imports to run its country. So when the price of oil skyrockets like this is the big moment where in Japan they will have to raise their interest rates, and everyone who's borrowed money and invested elsewhere will have to pay back at a higher interest rate, and it's going to cause everywhere else and everything else to crash. Also, the issue with this is extremely high oil prices will obviously force everyone to not be able to afford transport, and then the government will step in with energy lockdowns and rationing and all sorts of things. So there's many major catalysts on the horizon, and it's already started. So, and the Strait of Hormuz, obviously, most of the or 20% of the world's oil goes through it. You're at risk of getting blown up if you go through it right now. It's really, really dangerous there, and it's obviously going to cause an issue. So I will show you another cycle. This is the S&P 500 versus gold. So S&P acts as a risk move. So when the markets are favoring risk and high volatility and high return, stocks pump. Gold overperforms versus stocks when the markets are looking for safe haven. So gold is safe in this occasion, and S&P is risky. So where are we now? So this is a cycle. It's the same as the crypto cycle, but it's over 34 years. So from the start and then 10 years or 10 to 12 years from the high, you get a low placed in. Then from there, at the end of the 34-year cycle, you get a high. 10 to 12 years later, exactly a low is placed in. Then at the end of that 34 years, a high is placed in. Another 10 to 12 years, a low is placed in. Where are we now? So we are well and truly coming into the last bit of the high being placed in here. Every single time of this cycle has played out, the high has been higher than the previous cycle high. So we've got a long way to go on S&P versus gold. Why is that important? Because crypto will follow this as well, because gold is a safe haven. Okay, crypto and stocks are volatile, risky assets. So crypto will follow this as well. How do we know when crypto might pump with regards to this? We'll need to see a turnaround on this chart, and then risk assets are being favored versus gold, and the rest of this cycle can continue. This is significant here because a lot of people are probably getting into a sticky situation because this sort of time on in the cycle in previous cycles, price hasn't drawn down this heavily, so there hasn't been this much of a sharp drawdown at this sort of stage. So it's a real big sharp drawdown. It's like the slingshot being pulled back as far as possible. So that's that cycle. We're waiting for that to turn around. What else is important? I can give you just another bet as well if you want. So RSR is backed and funded by Peter Thiel and Sam Altman. They're going to pump this thing as well. I'm not going to bore you. We've only got a few minutes left, but I've got cash out levels. At the moment, my highest cash out level is $1.34, and price is currently at 0.0017 of a cent. So do with that as you will. I don't have a lot of time. Clarity Act. So the Clarity Act is the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act. Classifies digital assets into categories. Gives the CEFTC authority, so rules, basically to be a referee. Essentially, it's basically cryptocurrency being signed into law. It's currently under dispute. So without this, institutional money isn't able to come in. So the Clarity Act being signed into law this year has been at the peak. People thought, 82% chance it's getting passed this year. Now it's down to 56% chance. So it is still likely, but also losing confidence now. People are. X Money. X Money is a payments and financial services feature being developed for the X platform, formerly Twitter. They want to change it to an everything app by integrating social media messaging and financial tools. You can send and receive money, earn a 6% APY on deposits, and use debit cards with 3% cashback. So they want to use digital currency on X for everyone, for everything. So I'll show you that at the end. There's a few more things, so I'm actually going to pause it and I'm going to group this into another video. Oh, it's gonna make me finish this one. All right, okay, fine. So Clarity Act is on a critical path towards potential passage by April 2026, though significant hurdles remain. While industry leaders like Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse project an 80% chance of passage by late April, some analysts suggest a big probability, but it's not guaranteed. It could all just be words. But the only reason I've brought up April is because, well, the CEO of Ripple is saying there's an 80% chance, so that is a significant statement. But also this thing that people might have forgotten about from The Simpsons did their cryptocurrency episode. And if you look very carefully, this guy is on a jet ski. He's buying a jet ski. Behind him is a wave, like liquidity. And you can't see it because it's pixelated, but this woman's name tag says April. Also, there's an interesting X symbol here in black as well. It kind of looks like the XRP symbol. This is what people think. And if you look, this guy pays with what looks like a Ledger cold storage device. So we've been through a lot in just in that 15 minutes. I'm trying to gauge basically when this whole thing. I've mentioned oil. I've mentioned the Japan issue, global financial stress. I've mentioned climate lockdowns, not climate, energy lockdowns, and all of these things that would require the system to change and be supported by XRP. Essentially, I've showed you the cycles and where we are in the cycle. So the only thing that would break the cycle that I showed you would be if all of this, if there's a global financial crisis, which, by the way, it wouldn't take much more than a month, realistically, for this whole thing to unfold. If people had to rush to Japan to repay debts at a higher interest and sell off all their assets, there would be no liquidity anywhere, and things would crash very quickly. So within a month, our oil has done the move. It's done the 30% move that it needed to do, and the tensions and wars is only going to get worse. So it really has happened. So that cycle, the cycle should end. The drawdown cycle for XRP and crypto should end in October. So a real serious crisis is what might change the cycle. If the cycle is to be broken and price is going to pump 110,000% again, because of this issue, which is what the Riddlers have spoken about. This is an XRP holders absolute moment of like this is what has been rumored to happen, and it's either this or price will just grind up over the years with use case, or we'll just keep following the cycle, or I don't know, but I'm trying to put my finger on the potential that something could kick off to cause a big spike, and I'm trying to gauge when that might be based on the clues that we've got. So I showed you the April thing just now, The Simpsons, the April thingy. I've told you they're talking about maybe Clarity Act in April. X Money. Oh, okay. This is something else with April. Obviously, with X Money, they'll probably want the Clarity Act passed because they're using digital wallets. 72% chance that X Money is launched by April 30th. So that's another interesting one. And there's one more April connection I've got. So you can't see it very well because I can't find the HD image anywhere on the internet. But this is a riddle post from Bearable Guy 123. This guy knows what's happening. On top of the, so what this is, this was posted in December 2018. Now, Ripples in Wales, at Ripples in Wales on YouTube and Rumble and Twitter, he's an expert in decoding these images, and he's how I learned what this means. There's a lot to it. For example, the colors of the stockings represent Bitcoin, XRP, and US dollar, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in this photo, but I will simplify to get to the point. This jar here says Regulation Molasses on it. You can't see it because this is a pixelated version. I've got the rest of his photos in good quality, but this one, because it wasn't anywhere on the internet anymore, I had to download it from Google Images. But on the lid it says price, so it says Regulation Molasses. So regulation is the Clarity Act. The Genius Act for stablecoins is already passed. So this is about the Clarity Act, and it's got the gavel, so the law thingy there. And when the law thingy hits, the hammer hits, the jar will fall off. And on the lid, you'll have to trust me because you can't see it, but I promise you, on the lid there it says price. So what that's basically saying is when regulations come into play, and the hammer hits, the jar falls off, and the lid comes off the price, so the price explodes. That's, if you can put two and two together, then that's what that would entail. Also, the interesting thing, so Ripples in Wales has been the only person to look at these photos and say, when they were posted by Bearable Guy 123, the year that he posted them in and the date that he posted them in is when they will come live in the future. So essentially the narrative is this photo, despite being posted in 2018, is live for now because it's relevant for now, the regulations for now. Now the interesting thing is the calendar next to the thingy on the wall says 2019, and there is a sunshine lit up above May, so that is right after April. And also in there, I don't know the ins and outs, but there's different calendars that start with like the 22nd day. So April the 22nd to May the 22nd is still relevant to count as April because within that time there's the sun in May. So either way, still waiting for that to play out. Now the next image he posted was this one, and this was posted in the 3rd of April 2020. So despite the fact he posted it in 2020, it could mean a year on from this image, and this calendar says 2019 and the image was posted in 2018. So if this image here means 2026, then the calendar is a year after when it was posted. So that would mean, no, sorry, if this was 2025 because it was December 20 and we've just had December and gone into a new year, so this would be December 2025, and then the calendar goes into 2026, so that would be April 2026 maybe, but we don't know. Either way, the next image he posted was posted in April. So what this could entail is coming out of the storm into April, and you've got blue skies ahead, and it's an April connection. So could this be after the regulations are passed? You come in the storm, you've got the Epstein files and the freaking Iran war and everything. The XRP color is purple, see on his first image. The Bitcoin is green, and XRP there is bigger than the Bitcoin going into this April. But the only thing I'm thinking is I think this photo, I'm pretty sure that's why I saved them all in this way, because this photo was actually posted in 2020. So if this whole thing is 2025 and then the calendar goes into 2026, the sunshine is on just after April. However, so price could go for April, and this could all mean April, but then this could also mean 2027 because it was posted. They skipped a year when they actually posted it online. But either way, coming out of this storm that we're in now, the Iran issue and all the rest of it, somewhere along the line, XRP is looking stronger than Bitcoin, according to this. So I think that's about it. Yeah, RSR, look up RSR for big returns. Canton is helping to tokenize US treasuries. Yeah, XRP following the cycle for now. So we're either waiting for, from now to the end of May, we will look for the Clarity Act to be passed in a global financial crisis, and that would shake up the cycle. And that would allow price to do its crazy return that it could do, up to $1,000 based on what we've done before. or we're going to follow the cycle, and maybe just who knows when any of this is going to happen. But I hope there was something. I know it's a little bit all over the place, but I do hope there was some information in here that made sense. Your best bet right now is to pray for the best. Pray for, despite the fact that there is geopolitical issues and people are dying and people are going to die from an energy crisis and there's going to be horrible lockdowns and pandemonium and all the rest of it. We pray for the world. However, we also expect the worst and we prepare for the worst. And preparing for the worst is follow the cycle right now, dollar cost average into risk assets. Try and stay out of debt because just it's going to explode. Just be safe. Keep dollar cost averaging into XRP. Look into RSR because it's going to be a massive returner. There's only 120 odd million dollar market cap. And yeah, there's a few things to keep an eye on here. And yeah, and generally I'll just flick through just the general sort of markets as well, just to tell you sort of where we're at. So just to finish off, we really are in a wartime situation here. Crypto is not going to pump without a catalyst anytime until we see the catalysts, and until we see the S&P switch round against gold and follow its 34-year cycle again. Just keep dollar cost averaging because you're in a good position to keep adding to your bag here. US 10-year government bond, the safest US government investments, are going higher. See 2025 range here. We're closing above key levels. The dollar itself is taking previous year's low and it's going higher, going towards key levels. So the dollar's strong. Euro versus dollar weak. Pound versus dollar's weak. Dollar's beating the yen. It's beating the Swiss now as well. Bitcoin is still lagging under its previous year lows. So also look into BSV. It's the original Bitcoin protocol and it's the biggest conspiracy out there apart from spiritual conspiracies. And crypto generally is not doing well. So I say that to say this. The markets are performing how they should in a wartime scenario. The dollar and gold and safe assets and commodities are pumping because that's what's safe and valuable. Risky things like stocks and crypto are not valuable right now because it's not a safe haven for your money, and we're following the cycle to come down. So with everything said, be ready for a potential event, be ready for climate lockdowns, be ready for the Clarity Act to pass and maybe a pump from institutional money coming in. And dollar cost average following the cycle. Keep your head on a swivel and we'll go through this all again and we'll see what's what. So I've just helped you to understand where we're at. These charts don't lie, people lie. I didn't mention any politician or government speech or anything for a reason. So I hope you found some of it informative. I do apologise if it was a bit long-winded or hard to follow or confusing or there was too many points quickly. But we'll see how this content is digested by yourselves. And many blessings and thank you very much. God bless.